Are you totally different when it comes to sex and copulation? Have you judged yourself out of receiving pleasure? Have you judged yourself into receiving pleasure in certain ways and excluded other ways? Would you like to know more about what else is possible with bodies? Would you like to create confidence in the bedroom and beyond? How has your sex life or lack of it affected other areas of your life? Everyone has the potency to be a sexual superhero. Get ready to listen, sense, and play with the sexualness that is you. Now, here's the host of The Pleasure Zone, pleasure diva and body whisperer, Milica Jelenic.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to The Pleasure Zone, where all things pleasure-related come to life. Kind of like animation of pleasure. It's like where all these things that you ever just thought about but never really chose to do. I might actually talk about those things in this wild next 45, 55 hour, whatever time it happens to be, because generally the show is 55 minutes, but you never know how I work it. It could be 45, it could be 3.5. We don't know, but really there is a time frame. Okay, so thank you and welcome. And tonight I have a topic that is near and dear to my heart called, Yes, Tonight, Dear, I Have a Headache. Not to say I have a headache and I refuse to have sex, more like, yes, I have a headache and please have sex with me. And yes, I know that might be really foreign to a lot of you. And I get that. I get that a lot of us are kind of doing the excuses to stop receiving. Oh, right. Sex is receiving. Yeah, I know. Just blew your mind. You're welcome. So if sex actually and anything is receiving, like receiving energy from people, walking down the street can be receiving, right? Shaking hands can be receiving. But if we're making excuses like, oh, I'm sorry, tonight I have a headache, and even if you do have a headache and you're like, no, I swear this isn't an excuse, how many of us create these things in our bodies just to refuse receiving because we're so adorable? And how many of us actually create things in our bodies so that we can receive, but then, your body's like dynamically asking to receive, and then at the same time, your brain is dynamically refusing to receive because you're so adorable. Yes, this happens, people. This actually happens. And so how do I know this stuff? Well, I've been alive on the planet, and so I've seen it, and I've been part of it. And also, one of the things I notice when I work on bodies, because that's what I do, I work on bodies. I work on bodies with movement. I work on them with energy, with words, basically creating ease. This weekend I had like kind of an epiphany about what I do, and it was such a great epiphany that it left my mind and it like went off somewhere else. But I think I kind of essentially summed it up as like creating and facilitating ease of movement, not just movement of body, but movement of all things in your life. So yeah, that's kind of like where I was kind of playing with that, but I know there was more to it. And, of course, it was one of those epiphany moments where neither did I have my cell phone on me to write it down or paper or whatever. It was probably in the bathroom, which is usually where most of my epiphanies occur. So, yeah, I didn't write it down. So it was. It's one of those things where when I'm working on people, I do start to notice that people dynamically refuse things, all kinds of things, especially receiving. I actually worked on a really lovely bunch of people this weekend, and one of them was completely new to me. I literally met her I was walking through the salon spa that I work out of in Toronto, and this lovely woman was sitting there, and my dear friend was saying to her, oh, she's really good with bodies. Like, maybe she can do something with your shoulder. And the woman's like, I don't think so. The doctors say that I have this, rotator cuff problem, and I got this, and it's probably torn. And I'm like, all right, whatever. If you'd like to try it, let me know. I have some time right now, so let me know. And she kind of sat there, and then she asked me some more questions and more questions. And what was really interesting is that her body was so screaming yes, and her mind was making up all these lovely excuses. And it's been really interesting few weeks for me watching people make excuses with their mouths and creating, scenarios in their brain to dynamically refuse receiving while their bodies are screaming, please, please. And it doesn't mean that they're screaming at me to be touched, but bodies are screaming to be touched and nurtured and cared for and loved and cuddled and like all of the great things that, we just freaking refuse to receive. So here's this lovely woman, and we have this, about 40 minutes I had available, and she spent about 15 trying to convince herself why this wouldn't work, that she has to go back home because her kids are making a barbecue. And I'm like, wow, okay, cool. Your shoulder, my time, whatever, it's just a choice. And I just kind of walked off, and she's like, okay, wait, I really want to try this, whatever, it sounds crazy, let's go do it. Anyway, long story short, I did get to work on her, and her body was just so willing to receive. And it was so funny because her mind was so in the action of trying to figure out, what is it you just did to me? How did you do that? How come my shoulder moved? How come it's not sore? What the heck happened? And it was really funny how much she was trying to make a logical sense of how change occurs. And we all do that. We all, something changes. How did it happen? Maybe you don't have to know how it happened. Just acknowledge, hey, something changed. Cool. And the more you acknowledge it, the more you can receive it, the more that it can show up, the more change you can have. Cool. It's so easy, right? But we're so freaking cute that we have to figure it out, because our heads are these massive computing systems, and there's so much space in them that isn't even being utilized. That we've got to figure something out with those 90% brain that we haven't tapped into yet. So why not figure out how it is that magic shows up? And it was really cool. So by the end of about the 25 minutes, she could move her shoulder, which she hadn't been able to move in quite a while, and she also hadn't had a sense of ease. Even just standing, her shoulder would hurt. Everything would pinch, and it would be sore. And I had a pretty good awareness of what was going on, so we changed it. Literally, we changed it. And why do I say we? Because she chose it, she was involved, and she was willing to receive. So it is a we system. It's not a me doing it to you. It's a we thing. Just like sex is a we thing. It's not a me doing it to you thing. It's a we thing. And there's so much where we forget that, we're on a planet with multiple bodies and beings, and that everything that's going on is actually a we system, not a me system. You can think all you like that it's just you versus the universe, but you're kidding yourself. No matter what, you're kidding yourself. Even if you're running a business and you think you're doing it on your own, if your business is successful, it's all those people that are contributing to your business, gifting, you money in exchange for services, or bringing you products that you can sell in exchange for money. All of that is what's contributing to the business actually thriving, surviving, and continuing, right? So all of it is a we system. None of it is a me system. And so even with healing, say healing of bodies, it's never just the person healing you. It's you choosing to show up, receive, and allow change to show up. And then one of the coolest things is when you don't actually judge the change that shows up. So what I've noticed that quite a few people do, and they're doing it less and less, and what I've noticed is that people are now starting to judge the results less. Although this woman was a fine example of, she did judge the results. And she's like, I don't know how that's possible. How did you do it? And I said, okay, cool. What if you didn't judge the results and you just received it? And she's like, that's so weird. How do you do that? How do you not judge it? And it was so cool because I hadn't actually had a conversation with somebody whose brain was operating that way for a really long time. So it was a very cool information for me to know so that I can have conversations with you guys who've never had a session with me, or if you have, but to have conversations with people who may have never experienced the work that I do, and to be able to communicate with people about what it is that I actually offer, right? So what a gift. And so she loved it so much, she came back the next morning, and she loved it so much after that that she called her brother immediately, who then came an hour later for a session. So it was very cool for me to have these people show up in my life who are totally willing to receive change. And now they're starting to be willing to not have to know how or why, which is such a freaking cool thing, to watch people go from having to figure it all out to being willing to receive it. And for me, so much about tonight's topic has to do with the willingness to receive and how much we choose not to, and the excuses that we make not to. Like the woman with her time and the barbecue, and I could never receive because I have to go to a barbecue. I know my shoulders hurt for months, and in fact I haven't been able to move it in 3 or 4 days, but this barbecue put something in her, and maybe my awareness, and maybe a little of my magic showed up to have her choose more for her, which is so very cool. And I just really loved, like, her feedback was just so fun to hear, because the next morning she came in and she just stood there and she went, "This is crazy. What you do is crazy. You do know you're crazy, right?" I'm like, "Yes, thank you. I do know I'm crazy." She's like, "You do know that I went out last night and my shoulder didn't hurt and people couldn't understand why." And I said, "Hey, that's cool. Just, sometimes you don't even have to tell people that it doesn't hurt. You just smile and they might wonder what's going on. You can always just give them my card and I can say, I'll do some magic on you. We'll see what shows up." And so she was very intrigued by also how crazy she was noticing she is too. She was like, "I think I must be crazy because I'm like, this is actually coming into my life. Like, if you're crazy and this works, then I'm crazy for choosing it, right?" I'm like, "Sure, you're crazy too. How does it get any better than that?" So it was like a meeting of the crazies, and what a gift. So she was actually a great reminder to me of that whole scenario of how we dynamically refuse to receive. And I've heard this so many times, and I've seen it. And actually, growing up, I used to stay with some family friends of mine quite often. There's obviously some energy around this one, so I'm telling the story anyway. So I would go to their house, and I was aware that there was some interesting energy with the father. I know that he had, and he still has, he's a very interesting character. I guess the best word would be that he has a creepy energy. So without trying to put too much judgment on it, I'm aware of what he's willing to be and do that would not make me comfortable leaving my children with him. Okay, so enough said there. I would go to his house every weekend pretty much when I was a teenager. Why? Because I was intrigued with these things. And I was aware of it at the time, too. I was like, there's something off, but I'd still go back. It's like, when you smell rotten milk and you're like, that smells so bad, I have to smell it again. That was like me going into this house. And I'd go back, and I'd go back, and it was like, something is off here. There is something so off that it's so weird. I have to go back. And so I did, and I did. And one of the things that I would notice was the wife never went near the husband. Not a hug, not a kiss, not a touch, slept in separate spaces, and she constantly, chronically had body pain, back pain, headaches, leg pain, constant pain, constantly. And it wasn't until I got older that I became aware, really aware, because information came out of stuff that I was aware of on an energetic level and that I was picking up, but I didn't have the information wasn't like presented to me. So the information later got presented to me about this person and the fact that he was quite abusive. So I became aware of that, and I became aware of how much the mother was refusing receiving from her husband, the father, and would create massive amounts of issues, pain in her body in order to not have to be near, close, or intimate with the father. And so for any of you out there listening, and this is not the case for everyone, but just be in the question on this because it might actually contribute to you. So I'm just wondering if any of you out there have ever created anything in your body that could be construed as pain, aggravation, inflammation, anything like that, as a means to refuse receiving in any way, whatever that is. So how about if you contemplate that, kind of look at that, look at the energies around that, and like play with, hey, have I ever dynamically refused that? Have I ever created pain in my body? Have I ever had pain in my body, and now I'm aware and I acknowledge that I created that in order to not receive from A, B, C, D, E, whoever or whatever that was. All right, so how about you play with that question, and we're going to head to this fabulous commercial break here on the Pleasure Zone.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution, taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation by tuning in to the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer. It's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255. That's TALK. Or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email at milicajelenic.com. Now back to the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight's topic is, tonight, dear, I have a headache. In other words, asking for it even when your body might be giving you signals like it's not feeling so great. But there's so many levels to this. So the first section of this that we just kind of talked about prior to break was where we are actually creating these things like inflammation, pain, all this kind of stuff in our bodies that creates discomfort and disease in order to dynamically refuse receiving. Why? Because we are freaking cute and not so smart. One of my favorite things that I ever learned in Access Consciousness, and I love it because it's so fitting for me. So it is very hilarious, actually. And I wonder, too, how many people are creating it in order to start to receive. So let's look at that end of the scale. So how many of you have actually created headaches, back pain, leg cramps, whatever it is that you've created in your body, even to the extreme of cancer. Like, how many of you created diseases, unimaginable diseases that most people would go, there's no way I created that. I don't know even how that happened to me. I've been so good my whole life, and people will love saying stuff like that. So what is it that you are creating in order to begin receiving where you were not receiving? And are you aware of that? Are you aware of where you're choosing that? Are you aware of where you're creating that? So if you're not aware, I fully encourage you to start asking questions. What do those questions look like? So say, for example, your body presents some kind of, say, headache, for example. There's some great questions in Access Consciousness that I've used for the last 5 years that can change things in your body fast and easily. And one of them is, who does it belong to? So let's start with that. Like, who does that headache belong to? Is it yours, somebody else's, or something else's? So if you've never listened to this show before, we use these questions a lot, especially on this network in general. So if you've never heard those questions, something to play with, and you just follow your awareness. Is that actually mine? Is that somebody else's? Or is it something else's? Cool. So if you find out that it's actually not yours, then you can return to center with consciousness attached. And there's a bunch of other tools too. You can always come to a class and find out more about that. And another question is, if you truly get, like, this is my body having some kind of reaction, okay, let's go with that. Like, what is your body aware of? What are you creating? And just start asking questions like, did I create this? What did I create this for? And then you can start to acknowledge what you created it for. What is this? What can I do with it? Can this change? What can I do to change it? Another 4 great questions that are from Access Consciousness. And some of the other things that I just like to ask in general is, like, okay, cool, so body, what are you aware of? What do you require? And sometimes my body will be having a headache because it actually requires sex, because my body's adorable. And my body will sometimes get a lot of tension buildup from whatever. It could be the planet, could be all things going on the planet. And my body loves receiving through copulation. And my body also loves receiving orgasms in general that will actually create change in space in my body so that my body can have more ease. So, like, orgasms are such a gift that way. Not only can you, like, have a sense of, like, sexual gratification, but they can also be utilized to begin to heal your body. So sometimes, too, when your body is having a lot of maybe pain or tension or stress, you can ask your body some fun and silly questions like, body, just for fun, just ask your body, would you like to have an orgasm? Just for fun. Just like asking your body, would you like to have water? Would you like to have an orgasm? And how many? If it's like yes, just ask, like, how many would you like? Because you might have kind of figured it out already. You might have went, oh yeah, actually my body would like, but wait a minute, it didn't really change that much. Well, maybe your body would actually like multiple orgasms. Maybe your body would actually like to have a lot of sex, maybe like have sex 5 times in one day. Maybe your body is ramping up its receiving by showing you and indicating to you with intensities in your body. So have you actually ramped up your receiving when your body is presenting you with these, and when your body is showing up with these intensities? So that's what I'd really be curious about. Have you ramped up your receiving? Are you right now, like, on the crux of ramping up your receiving? And are you willing to step into that? And what does that look like? So sex doesn't have to be the answer, but heck, it's pretty darn fun, right? So are you willing to have fun with this? Are you willing to, like, just allow your body to play around and see what would create ease for it? Would, maybe like having your body caressed, would having copulation, would being stroked off be fun? What would be really a contribution to your body being able to have ease instead of dis-ease or lack of ease? what way would your body really like to start to begin to receive more, especially if it's on that rampage to receive more, and you're like, whoa, everything is so intense. Life is intense. Being is intense. Where and who are you willing to receive from, and where and who are you dynamically refusing receiving from? Because the people you're dynamically refusing receiving from can also be creating a sense of intensity in your body. So it's not about having to have sex with everyone, and you don't even actually have to see or like the people that you're receiving from energetically. Just the willingness to receive from everyone and everything in the entire universe, including all, rapists, murderers in jail. Yeah, I'm for real talking about everyone and everything in the entire universe without judgment, just receiving energetically with no point of view. When you start adding points of view in there, you might as well start jabbing yourself with little knives. So how about no point of view? Those points are very pointy and can be very prickly. So how about no point of view, and what now is your body willing to receive more of? Cool. So if you're willing to receive from all the people, awesome. Now, would you also be willing to receive from all of the animals with no point of view? Yep. Even if the animals get turned on, even if you get turned on and you're like, oh my God, am I into bestiality? Doesn't mean you're into bestiality necessarily. Doesn't mean you got to put that on there or a label onto it. Just acknowledge that you're willing to receive energetically from animals, all the flora and the fauna, because our refusal to receive is, to me, one of our greatest stupidities on the planet. It's by far, if we could be any more stupid about anything, I don't know if we can be more stupid, and I don't think we need to practice that. So how does it get any less stupid than the stupid that we've already got, and where can we be more aware and conscious and choose that? And start to begin to scrape that ice tip of receiving, because what I'm aware of is that we haven't even scratched the surface of receiving on this planet yet. We truly are more like, and for any of you who have ever watched Avatar, we truly are more like that, where we can totally tap in and receive life force energies from everything around us. We're truly more like that than we are the way that we are walking around right now, not acknowledging it, not being that, and not choosing it. So, if everything could turn you on, would you ever have an excuse to have pain? If you're walking down the street and the trees are turning you on, would your back have pain? Would you have headaches? Would your body be in so much orgasmic bliss that it actually never had pain or stress or dis-ease or lack of ease of any kind? And so strongly encourage you to play with that. Walk down the street. Say your body has an intensity. Okay, so, and you happen to be walking down the street even though it has an intensity. Start to receive. Just go, okay, and how do you do that? Right, great question. Ask a question. So the question could be, what would it be like to receive energy from that person, and that tree, and that snail, and that ant, and that bug? And what would it be like, body, to receive from all of that? Truly, you can open up your world with a question, and there's not really a how-to as much as there is the curiosity that invites you into a different possibility. And that curiosity is what actually starts and initiates and gets the momentum going in order for all of this to start to show up. So, and to continue to have your body show up with more ease. So what if you could look at anything, say your body has an intensity, and if you could look at anything around you and look at everything. Okay, am I receiving from the drapes? Am I receiving from my bed? Am I receiving from the birds and the trees outside? Am I receiving from, and ask all of it. Yes, even your curtains, ask all of it. Are you receiving from them? If you're not, just ask. Just start asking to receive from even your curtains and even your walls of your house. Ask to receive from all of it. It's all molecules. All of it is molecules, and they all have awareness. Yes, they do. It's crazy, but it's true. So where are you receiving from? And then you might start to notice that you probably have very limited handful of things that you are willing to receive from. Some people are only willing to receive from God, as God appears in this sort of way, like God as the God that I image in the Bible, that they've whatever. And, some people are only willing to receive from their one partner, only their husband, only their wife, only their such and such crap. So wherever you're doing that and you've created the ultimate thing, place, or whatever to receive from, will you change that now and just stop it and begin to receive from everything and everyone? Awesome. So everywhere you're not choosing and being that, to receive from everyone and everything, will you just blow that up with a gigantic freaking conscious bomb? The bomb of consciousness, just plant it there, let it explode. Awesome. And everything that doesn't allow that, just destroy and uncreate it all. All right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, and that crazy speak is called the Clearing Statement. You can check it out when we go to this commercial break in 1 second. So check out theclearingstatement.com if you like, and we're going to head off to commercial break.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution, taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation by tuning in to the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255. That's TALK. Or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email at milicajelenic.com. Now back to the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight's topic is, Tonight, Dear, I Have a Headache, and all the other ways that we could start to choose to receive, even though we thought that was crazy talk. So before I jump back into the topic, I just wanted to let you guys know that you can find me in different places. You can find me on social media, through Facebook. You can find and join. You can actually add yourself to the Pleasure Zone. I have a page on Facebook where you can find random updates about my shows and other things that I find interesting about pleasure. You can also check out my website, milicajelienic.com. That's MILICAJELENIC.com. And you can find me on Instagram as Magical Milica, and you can find find me pretty much on all social media, different platforms like Pinterest and Twitter and all that. So feel free to look me up, friend me, find me, follow me. Just don't follow me in real life, because that I might just turn around and go, what are you doing? Like, I'm not that, interesting to follow me around. I'm not, for the most part. So, but energetically, that's cool. Just physically, it's not worth your time. Okay. So what I am playing with tonight is how many ways we can actually begin to receive. And one of my favorite ways to receive is through, I love body work. I love having my body worked on, particularly love the work that I do, which is why I chose it. And so for me, I love having my body moved and adjusted, and I love having energy work done. And so I offer sessions in all of that, as well as a bunch of other things that I do online. So if you're not in any of the locations that I work out of directly in person, you can always have Skype sessions with me where I facilitate you through all kinds of things, and really enjoy facilitating verbal stuff over the phone, like getting you through your crap and your limitations and stuff that's just dragging you down. Like, I love to assist changing all of that and facilitate that. So you can find me in lots of ways and have sessions with me in lots of different ways. And also, one of the ways my body does love to receive, like I was saying, is energy work. And I just really am so grateful that I, along with some of my sweet and dear friends, got invited to host a very cool class in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, November 10th to 12th, called the Access Advanced Body Class, with the founder of Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas, who is a creator of Magnitude Change Agent Extreme, and just somebody who just chooses and chooses and chooses, just a dynamic chooser. So amazing, and I'm just so grateful that I got invited to be part of the hosting team, along with my friend Christine McIver, who is CEO of this Inspired Choices Network, and she actually has a fabulous class coming up too in Toronto called the Access Bars class on Friday, I was going to say November because I'm adorable, Friday, June 16th. So lots of things going on, and I happen to have a beautifully fun facelift class the following day on Saturday, June 17th in Toronto. So lots of fun things going on in Toronto over the next few months for sure. You can find all kinds of classes on the Access Consciousness site with some of my sweet friends, Patrina Fava, who's also a host on this show. We will be co-facilitating a class coming up in the next few months. And we're going to be creating all kinds of stuff in the Toronto GTA area over the next few months. So we'd love to have all of you join us. And I'm actually going to have one of the other fabulous hosts joining me next week, Juna Guter, and we're going to be talking about sexual intimidation, and it's a very exciting topic for me. We started to discuss this in the 3-day body class that I hosted for her a week or two ago. I don't even know what day it is anymore, the beginning of June. And it was really, really great to hear what she's aware of on what sexual intimidation is. I'm very excited to have this conversation with her about that, and to be co-creating and co-hosting this super fun class. One of my favorite classes in Access Consciousness by far are the body classes, and the advanced body class is just like such an invitation for bodies to have more awareness, ease, and change in a way that's like truly having the body that it's not a head thing that you desire. It's not like the perfect image, utopian ideal of your body, but the body that will actually create the greatest for you on the planet. And so, such a fun class. And what else is possible, right? So I know it sounds crazy and almost too obscure, and just like the lady said to me on the weekend that it was just crazy what I could contribute to her body, some of it is almost so crazy it's hard to believe. And it's not about believing it, it's about just checking it out, choosing it, and see what shows up for you, really. So, okay, that was a bit of a rant, and thank you for listening. And so I'm going to get back on track with this topic. So the topic of tonight, dear, I have a headache, and all the other ways that we can actually stop refusing receiving and start choosing receiving. So I wonder, what if your body has so many different ways of asking for copulation and orgasm that you were never even aware of? A lot of people have the point of view that you get horny. You get horny, so your body's asking for copulation. Maybe your genitals swell up. Maybe you saw something sexy on a show, or you were watching porn, and your body is like showing all the signs of being turned on. Things are getting erect. Your penis might get erect. Maybe your nipples are getting erect. Maybe you're getting a little hot under the collar. Maybe you just want to touch yourself, and you just are unquenchably turned on. That is one way of showing that your body would like touch and to receive touch. And there are so many other ways. I think what we've done is we've categorized that you feel horny by those responses only, and not that your body is actually maybe having a headache or a backache, and that is actually your body asking for copulation as well. Especially if you happen to be amazing at choosing lovers that have capacities to heal bodies. Your body might just be so freaking adorable and smart in that it will create different pain, tension, or disease in it. So in order to have more playtime fun and sex and copulation with your partner or partners, whatever you're choosing. So is your body just that smart that it's creating that? And yep, I know that was kind of a totally different concept for a lot of people listening, and that's cool. And so play with it, because I know that, and play with yourself too, why not, while you're at it. But it's very common to have, especially if you read or if you've watch shows or movies or whatever, and there's always like a physiological reaction that they try and show. The woman's cheeks are flushed, her body's turned on, his penis is erect, therefore sex is on its way. And not always. And not always that a man has an erection does it require copulation. I think we have just confused everything so much that we are not truly listening to our bodies. We're not truly communicating with them, and we're not truly getting what they're communicating to us. So just because you have an erection doesn't equal that sex is required. Just because your cheeks are blushing and turned on and maybe your genitals are swollen doesn't mean that you require, penetration, ladies, or because you have a puddle in your panties, because, man, that's my whole life. That would mean I'd be, penetrated constantly. And what if it's so many other things? So I'm really curious to know how your body and what you're willing to be aware of with your body. Are you even willing to go there to even consider the possibility that maybe headaches, neck aches, and backaches could be one of those signals, your body communicating to you, hey, I'd really like some copulation right now. Hey, I'd really like some nurturing, some love, some touch. I'd like to get naked with my lover. I'd like to play with my lover. Your body is wicked smart. It's just that sometimes you might not be, and that's okay. You can get smarter. It's okay. We've all done it. We've all been there and not been so smart. So start to listen, because what if your body is asking you for copulation and orgasm in a totally different way than you were ever aware of? Could be crazy things. It could be, you could even be bloated, and your body could be asking for copulation because maybe just, the right angle and, maybe the legs in the right position just alleviate a lot of gas. I don't know for sure because it's different every time. So ask your body. And if your partner has no point of view about, you being squished in a pretzel position and farting until your tummy feels better, bless your partner, because they're awesome, because that's cool, and that's no point of view gifting, and that's like no point of view receiving. And I bring that ridiculous example up because so many people go into judgment of stuff like that. Like, no, that's just, it's just awkward. I could never. And so I had to say it because it's I could never in so many people's worlds. So even if you're having sex to fart or to get your bowels going again, I did have a lover at one point who every time he got turned on, he'd have to go take a shit first because his body would get so turned on, his bowels and the heat in his body would react, like his chi would increase, and then he'd have to go to the bathroom so he could actually like be at ease with it and actually be able to be present. So sometimes bodies will really ramp it up, and sometimes it ramps up the energy, the chi of your body. And so if you need to poo or if you need to pee first, go for it. It might actually instigate and initiate that. Even just the willingness to be turned on in front of somebody can change a lot for your body as well. It's very interesting to me, too, that a lot of people who do work on bodies are not willing to be turned on with the bodies, and that when you are, that it can actually be a really huge gift to the person receiving. And this weekend, when I was working on this woman in particular, she was saying to my friend who introduced us, she's like, there's something so different about that person, referring to me. It's like, I don't know what it is. Like, she's just different than other people who have worked on me. And so my friend was like, yes, she is different. She's like, she'll just say stuff, and it's just like, she's just there with you. And I get that, and I kind of got from the gist of their conversation, as my friend was recounting it to me, I was like, oh, I do get that. I just do be a different presence with bodies. I do acknowledge that, and that it is something that's different for people. So that's awesome, and I'm not unique to that. It is a capacity I have, but I'm not unique to it. So lots of you out there can be just as present with bodies if you choose it. And you can be just as present with your body because your body is a smarty pants and will know exactly what you require and desire. So we are going to go to our very last break of the evening, and then we'll come back and wrap up this show. So we're going to head off to break right now.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution, taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation by tuning in to the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions, or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you, beingyouclass.com.
This is The Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255. That's TALK. Or Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email at milicajelenic.com. Now back to the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic. Thank you for joining me, and if you've been listening for the last few segments of the show, thank you for sticking around and sticking to it, because I know some of these topics are a little foreign and different, and definitely my perspective on this may be a little foreign and different. So congratulations to you for being foreign and different too, and to choosing something that may actually be just a different way to look at things. So thanks. And so one of the things I'm also wondering about this whole topic of tonight, dear, yes, I have a headache. I wonder how much fun it can be actually to invite your, for me to figure out how many times I say actually in a show. I might listen once and figure out that it's about 75 maybe. I say it a lot. I'm very aware that I say it a lot, and I'm looking for another word that isn't actually, that gives me the same energy as actually. So if any of you know that, let me know. All right, cool. And that was a side note. So what is it that we could do and play with? Like, oh, honey, I have a headache. Can you just, like, give her to me real good? Like, pound it like we never pounded it before? How much fun can you have with it? Because I think, it's just so freaking common to go, no, I have a headache. No, my back hurts. No, my blah, blah, blah. And especially people will create that more and more when they're receiving from their partner. And and for people who genuinely are buying that they have pain, they're buying it because I'm saying, like, they've sold it to themselves because they created it and they bought it and they sold it to themselves. So when you're buying that you've got all this pain that no, we can't do this. Note, what is it I'm creating this for? Cool. Just acknowledge it. Sometimes just acknowledging what you're creating it for, like, oh, I have a broken shoulder so that I don't have to have sex with so-and-so, or so that I don't have to do the dishes, or so I don't have to do this, or I don't have to vacuum because it's the shoulder that I vacuum with. Whatever you're creating it for, acknowledge it, and then you can change it, right? And sometimes just acknowledging it will shift it completely. As I found out with another friend of mine this weekend who had damaged her foot, and then I threw a little wedgie into her universe, and her foot stopped hurting pretty quickly after that, after about a week of having it sprained and twisted and inflamed. Yay, awareness. Awareness is fabulous. So if you don't want to receive from your partner, you don't have to. But if you'd like to, and you're like, why is my body creating headaches? Start to ask, is this your body being so-called horny, asking for copulation? Because your body could be just as cute as mine. And my body will definitely create things so that I can go, hey, honey, I have a headache. Can you have sex with me? So I can get rid of the headache. And he's whenever my body's in pain, he's willing to oblige. It's amazing. So what if you don't have to create that stuff in your body? What if you can just choose it? And instead of, if you get that the excuse is required, you can just use the excuse, but not make it real in your body too. You can just pretend to have a headache if you want to, and you don't actually have to have one. That could be fun too, right? So that's why I'm asking, how much fun can you actually have with this? That maybe you just felt like it was daunting, like the whole topic is daunting, or the topic of sex with your partner is daunting, because either they're in pain all the time, or you're in pain all the time, or whatever that is. And you can totally change this, because, guys, it's the universe. The universe got your back on this. If you'd like to change it, you can. And just asking, like, hey, please, can we, blah, blah, blah. And what does your body know, and what is it creating in order for you to receive from other bodies, to receive nurturing? Like, in general, what does your body know? your body's smarter than you know it is. So I want to say thank you to all of you for listening. And please come listen to me next week with Juna Guter as my guest with Sexually Intimidating. Thank you so much and have a great week, everyone.
Thank you for choosing to listen to The Pleasure Zone. Milica Jelenic will return next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.